Hi all, I was just wondering what you think of this new deposit return scheme where you put cans and bottles into machines and you get credit back. Like when you buy the bottle, they take 15 cent off you or 25 cent depending on the size of the bottle or the can. I personally think it's an inconvenience, and I think it's also an inconvenience for the shops. They have to maintain these machines, they're getting clogged, they're getting full up, and I think it was more practical just to be using the bottle and can banks or your green recycling bin. So I just said I'd put it out there. I've done a bit of filming coming up now and see what you think, and say nothing. Right. I prefer it when you used to just throw your bottles into your green bin that you're already paying for, or it's easier than having to go off to a certain point, say in a supermarket, to bring back the bottles. Like I've went to a few supermarkets, and you go and fair enough you put your bottles in, but it takes a bit of time, and you get your receipt for your money, and you can either cash that at the till for cash or you can pay it off the goods you're going to buy. But I've often went to machines where you'd have someone with a couple of bags of bottles, and it takes ages for them to put them in, and you're there waiting and waiting and waiting. Whereas the old ways, you just throw them in your green bin and forget about it. Then you have, you can go to a machine and it needs to be emptied, or when you're putting the bottles in, it keeps on rejecting the bottles. Like the way the money leaves your account is at the till, very swift, very quick. But basically, sometimes you have to beg the machine to give you your money back, or you have to wait, it rejects perfectly good bottles, or you have to wait then for somebody to come along to empty, the machine and put in new containers, empty containers. So I've went to a machine there once, and there was someone with 4 big black sacks. They must have owned a pub or something, and having to wait for that person to put those bottles in is unreal. would you prefer just to use your old green bin, or for your bottles, or do you like the return scheme? I've went a few times to different shops now, and the machine will be out of order, or you can't use it, or else there's queues. And I think, the old way was grand, or even bringing cans to a bottle bank. Like, you can, in the old days, well, you can still do it, but you lose your deposits, because there's deposits now on everything, every can. But in the old days, you just went through your your cans into these big recycling bins, and that was it. You didn't have much hassle queuing or anything like that. All right, the occasional time, a couple of them might have been full or whatever, but taking into account the people with mobility issues, like if you're in a wheelchair or anything, and you have to, go along with the bag in your lap, and then it's not really eye level with someone in a wheelchair either, or somebody with other types of mobility issues, or if you don't drive, like bringing sacks of bags of bottles to these places, when traditionally you just threw them into your bin outside the door and they were collected once a week or twice a week.